No one talks about the point where you lose attraction in your marriage. Hi, I'm Suzette, the Marriage Warrior, and we're going to talk about it today. How do you lose attraction? Like you're not even physically drawn to them anymore. It's like the person you thought was just so good looking and so you're a man or you're a woman and you had all of these accolades for them, and all of a sudden you don't even want to be near them. Well, let me explain to you. In a codependent relationship, and most relationships start out in codependency. So here's what it looks like. So you have a hole in you. And let's say this other partner has a hole, but it protrudes out. So what happens is when you match, it's like these opposites, and their protrusion fits perfectly in your hole that you have inside. And it feels like, oh my gosh, I've waited for this, and this is exactly what I needed. And out of that comes a great chemistry and a great connection and attraction that just fireworks are going off. So when you look at it like that, what happens over time, because this entire earth journey is about you growing, your partner growing as individual people. And the marriage is supposed to be a parallel journey, two roads going in the same direction, and just being able to share things together, goals and achievements and physical touch and being able to be there for each other as friends. But as you go on this road connected in the way I just described earlier, as things come in, boulders kind of come into that road and kind of make y'all wreck. What happens is you pull away from each other and then you start criticizing the other one. This one's criticizing, you've got a hole, you're broken. This one's criticizing, you think you know everything because it's all puffed up in that protrusion. And then you're eating on each other. You're feeding off of that negative energy to connect. And so many people connect through negative connection. When you can't make one connection work, then you start arguing in order to connect, in order to get the attention and to get the person drawn into you. And so when that's happening, it's just you're in a negative, toxic cycle, because what you're really trying to do is connect in a healthy way like y'all used to. What you need to do is realize that used to is gone, because for you to get into a healthy parallel roads sharing life together, which you didn't do in the beginning, you have to grow individually. Both of you have to start to know your stuff. You have to start to know what you need to work on. You have to know what your higher self is doing and needing. What do you really desire? And stop looking at that person of whether you desire them or not, because you're not going to desire them if all you're doing is looking at their negatives. You have to realize, okay, journey is about me and I've got to grow. And if I have a partner that's willing to grow with me, then we can grow together. If you have a partner that's not willing to look at themselves, not willing to change what they're doing harmful in the relationship, continue to emotionally abuse you, physically abuse you, whatever, you can't stay in something like that. You have to have a partner who's willing daily to work it out with you. And then you have to both see that, okay, we have to change this whole dynamic. And for us to share a parallel life together, we have to individually look at ourselves. So the way you can start that is take a basic conflict, maybe on a 0 to 10 scale, 10 being a hot topic. Take a topic that's about a 7. And then bring the topic to your partner and say, okay, we're going to practice this. We're going to practice to see how can we communicate by just really wanting to understand the other person without trying to defend ourselves and trying to criticize that protrusion or that hole. And you can admit, listen, I have a brokenness there, or I feel like I've puffed up too much. Bring humility to a conversation and you'll get a lot further. And so make some rules. We're not going to argue. If we start to cycle in our old cycle, call a timeout. Now with timeout calling, the timeout caller is always going to be the one with the power, because you just took away the opportunity that the other one might feel like y'all are kind of going somewhere. And even though it's kind of hot and argument, kind of the cycling is going on, they might like that y'all are actually talking. And then somebody calls a timeout because they're getting too anxious. Well, then all of a sudden we're going in their direction, and that's control. So anytime that you have the control, you have to recognize you have it. Most timeout callers are filled with overwhelm, anxiety, and that's why they pull away. They don't know how to regulate their own emotions, so they pull away rather than confront. And so when that's happening, they are controlling the dynamic. They don't feel like they do because they're feeling so much anxiety that they're like, I'm not controlling anything. I just want to get away. I just want to get away. Well, they are controlling. And so when you see that they are controlling the dynamic, you have to say, listen, you can take a time out, but I need a time that you're going to come back. And if they say, well, I don't know when I'm going to come back, they're controlling more. So instead, there's got to be a time limit. I like 24 hours. And if you call out that timeout, you need to come back, if you're the timeout caller, to come back to the conversation and then be able to initiate and say, okay, let's try to talk about this again. There is a way out of this codependent relationship to start being attracted to the person again, but you're going to be attracted to them in a different way because there's going to be mutual love, mutual respect, and mutual regard for one another as you are respecting the path they are on as they're parallel sharing a life with you. And you're not walking on eggshells anymore. You are now sharing together. I hope this helps. If you want to know more about this, click the channel, and MWI, Marriage Warrior Institute, will explain a whole lot. It's a great training for you to learn about yourself and your relationship.